Back to the starting lineup with Scott Purrier, Ned Reynolds, and Art Haynes on your home for the St. Louis Blues. 102.1 The One.
And the starting lineup is brought to you by Play It Again Sports, by Swing Right Golf, by Citizens Bank of Rogersville, and by Marshfield Chevrolet. Ned Reynolds along with
Scott Purrier.
If you will do the honors.
Special guest on the line with us. Had a little absence last week for a family situation, but he's back ready to talk high school sports. We welcome in Chris Parker of the Ozarks Sports Zone. Mr. Parker, good morning.
Good morning.
You sound bright and ready to go this week. Excited about another week of high school sports, right?
I love spring. Spring's my favorite. There's a lot of, to be honest, there's a lot of variance and, there's stuff happening at all times. So you got games as early as like 4:30 to later, so I can see a lot more stuff. I enjoy spring.
We were talking last week that one of the positive things with high school sports in terms of facilities development is the number of turf fields now in the Ozarks for baseball and softball. You don't have to start chasing around sites for games anymore as much, do you, with the fact that they're going to get them in as long as there's no lightning?
Yeah, as long as it's not actively storming, yeah, it's made it a lot easier. And you're seeing them pop up everywhere. I mean, the latest example this year, Reed Spring added turf for their fields, and Marionville, they now have 2 full turf on-campus fields right next to each other. And so especially selfishly for coverage wise, when those small schools have those turf fields, they play that softball and baseball together, and it's easy to get and see multiple teams in one location. So yeah, the advent of turf fields has been incredible for the area, and the ability to get all of these games in what is a very short period.
Where, and I know the answer because when I went down I caught a McDonald County baseball game 2 or 3 years ago, and they've got just a really nice turf field now for baseball and right up the hill above there for softball. And I guess my first thought was, where's this money coming from? From all these schools. And in McDonald County's case, my buddy said that they've had it. They were just sitting on it for something like this. And I think during COVID, didn't they get some more money and some aid in that time period as well?
Yeah, there was that. Like I know Seymour built a nice new gym with some of that COVID money, but it's also you pitch it to the community. I mean, if you have a yard, it's not cheap to make it look nice. And that's the pitch over 10 years. We're going to save money on watering, on seed, on fertilizer, on the manpower to maintain it. So that's another side of it is that, you can guarantee less manpower and less investment in having to maintain grass and all that.
Well, you were talking before we came on that the watch list is out. Explain that for high school baseball.
So the Missouri Baseball Coaches Association does a really good job with their rankings, and they don't really jump on preseason rankings. They do a preseason watch list, unranked, and so you kind of get an idea of some of the teams that are looking at. The first actual rankings, I think, should come out this week. But each class has a list of about 15 to 20 teams that you're looking at. Like in Class 6, it's Kickapoo and Nixa. But this list isn't obviously comprehensive because Class 6, we've only got Kickapoo and Nixa locally. But then you're looking at Glendale, who's off to like a 10-2 start, and Brady Yates is tearing the cover off the ball. He's our Athlete of the Week this week. He's already one one Grand Slam away from tying the Misha record for Grand Slams in a season. 30-plus RBIs already. And so we know in that Class 6 district, based on last year, anybody can win it. I mean, Joplin won it as a 5 seed last year. So the watch list is really just a guide in baseball more than any other sport. It depends on who you have on the mound that day.
And Yates is a Missouri State commit, correct?
Yates is a Missouri State commit. And I might be jumping ahead of myself, but that 2027 class is pretty incredible. That junior class locally, Prep Baseball Missouri, they do a pretty good job with rankings. Brady Yates is ranked number 2. He's in Missouri State in the state for 2027. He's ranked number 2 going to Missouri State. Rylan Sutton from Ozark, Ole Miss. He's ranked number 4. Adam McKnight, who we're all familiar with, ranked number 5. His teammate Cameron Miller, committed to TCU, is ranked number 7. So we have a really lot of high-end talent in that junior class. They're going to be a lot of fun to watch develop over these 2 years.
And all juniors. That's is this senior class? Do we have any big high major commits or major commits?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. We've got several. I mean, the biggest one is going to be Brody Crane going to Arkansas. He played for He didn't play football this year because he was playing for Team USA over in Japan, helping them win gold for U18, the baseball, and they actually beat Japan in Japan. So he's probably your highest level commit. But there's several Missouri State guys, and for my money, there is no sport has more Division I commits than baseball does locally.
What high school, Crane?
Crane, Neosho.
Neosho. Okay, interesting. So Dave Van Horn dipping up into Southwest Missouri to grab a pitcher then. And so what have you seen early on in baseball? You mentioned the watch list. You mentioned Nixon, Kickapoo. Who are some of the other teams, classes going on down besides and Glendale in Class 5?
I mean, we've covered Willard a lot, and there's a lot of story there. They've got probably one of the best pitchers in Southwest Missouri, Levi Hilton. He is going Division II, but he had Division I offers. But that Class 5 grouping is a really strong high-level one. And last year, you remember Willard lost in their Class 5 district to West Plains, and Marshfield made the Final Four. This year, Marshfield is in a different district, so you could have potentially a Marshfield-Willard state quarterfinal, but you can't overlook Carl Junction. They've got 3 All-Staters, Deacon Endicott, Cooper Vadiz, and Brody Pant, 3 All-Staters back there. They're in Willard's district. Lebanon has 2 Missouri State commits and a Mizzou commit in Beckett York back behind the plate. And they are in that Marshfield district. So there's a lot of high-level talent in Class 5 across the board. In Class 4, Aurora is typically there. Rogersville, you got to talk about them. They did lose one. They lost a game to Licking to start the year, but that was when state was still going on, so they didn't have their full complement of players. So Raj is there, but you can't overlook Seneca. They've got a University of Oklahoma commit and Jagger Wilson. So again, you run up against that kind of pitcher on that kind of day, anything can happen. So there's a lot to like there. Ashgrove is up in Class 3 now. I think they're still running undefeated. Forsyth has a head coach, Alex Weatherman, won state at Marionville, was up at Lebanon, and now he's down coaching Forsyth. And then Licking, like I said, they've got that 1-0 win over Rogersville to open the season. So really, really good team there. And then, you get to Class 2, Jace Wilkinson Miller. That's another junior that wasn't even on that list. And he's a lefty, and we saw what he could do last year, throwing it in the mid-90s as a sophomore. So anytime he's on the mound, they got a chance, and they bring back Hayden Schnocky, who is also All-State. And then Class 1 is kind of wide open. Billings and Galena both got ranked, but this is one I find interesting. Wheatland, they were in the Final Four each of the last 2 years. Their softball team in the fall made the quarterfinal. Well, that Wheatland team graduated a lot of players, and so this year they're letting they have 4 softball girls from that quarterfinal playing on their baseball team to try, because they needed the numbers. So that is an interesting story there. A team coming off a Final Four. They've added 4 from the softball team, and it sounds like they are playing.
Are we into the heart of the track season, I guess, starting this week? What's coming up, and what's already been run here in the area?
I break the track season up into basically 3 meets, and this week is the first one. It's the Girls' Night Out and the Jim Vaughn Invitational, formerly the Hillcrest Invitational. They're going on back-to-back days, weather pending, Thursday and Friday at JFK at the Parkview. That's kind of the first big meet of the year. And you'll see a lot of kids, show their times and show what they got going on right now, know where they need to go. And then the SBU meets the next big one, and then you get to the postseason schedule. So this is the first chance to really see stuff. We have seen some really good marks early on. Hayden Mays leads the state in the discus, and actually it's a Webb City kid leads the state in the shot put, beat Hayden head-to-head in the shot put. Loudon Bollinger from Webb City, he threw over 60 feet. They both hit 60 feet. So that's that's probably 60 feet used to be before Jackson Cantwell. 60 feet was the benchmark. But now everybody knows 60 is possible. They've seen the standard, and you're seeing shot putting go up with this class as a result. So that's really good. Senator Mendoza, the Oklahoma State commit, he's off to a 424 in the 1600. You don't expect to see a ton out of those guys right now because distance it just takes a little bit longer. But probably one of the more impressive times in the early going came from Cameron Miller out at West Plains. He's only a sophomore. He ran 10.48 in the 100-meter dash.
Wow.
Cameron Miller, you may recognize that last name out of West Plains. Heston Miller, great football player for them, great sprinter. That's his brother, and he broke his brother's school record as a sophomore, second meet of the season.
Is he a football player too, or not?
He is a football player, and I expect big things out of him this coming year.
What about on the girls' side? Have we had any eye-opening efforts so far?
There hasn't been any huge surprises over there. McDonald County does have one of the best sprinters in the area, and Samantha Dowd. She is the 100 and 200 meter leader in her class. Ava Lane, who is a volleyball player for Stratford. She's off to a really, really good start as well. She's the defending state champ in the 400. And I expect her to be a big piece there. We've got a lot of good sprinting depth this year. If you look at the rankings right now, we have a lot of 4x2s across all classes leading. And so that bodes well long-term as those sprinters round into form to really start seeing some of those times come down individually.
Golf. Did they have the I almost call it the SMS relays. That the Aldo Sieben relays out at was it Aldo Sieben or what? Am I mixing my sports up? It was the Aldo Sieben.
Aldo Sieben.
Yeah,
no, that was track. It was Aldo Sieben was track. MSU relays is
MSU. Okay, who that was last week, right?
That was last week. No one actually got the results to me on that one, so I don't know how it shook out. It was last week. We graduated a lot of our top end golfers, so what you have coming back is. Like Lockwood is probably the highest achieving team at state coming back, and they won state last year. But we're really kind of waiting to see stuff shake out here over those first few meets. You know how golf is. I don't think we have that one dominant player on the boys' side right now. At least they'll probably present themselves, but as of now, it's kind of like track, trying to shake things out a bit.
And it's girls soccer season, correct? What are we looking at team wise there?
Well, you got Class 2 Springfield Catholic girls drop back down to Class 2, so they immediately become a favorite there. And you've got Logan Rogersville with Maddie Lou Schubert. She is one of the most gifted scorers to ever come through Southwest Missouri. Incredible athlete there. And so that'll be a really good rivalry. The Catholic-Rogersville rivalry on both boys and girls side has been a really interesting one to watch develop. And then Class 3 is kind of a wide open class with Catholic dropping down, and Glendale is now in Class 4. Nixa, they bring back Shaylee Frank, who is setting, I believe, if she hasn't done it already, she will set the all-time scoring record for points record for Nixa. So those are kind of what you're looking at there.
The Rogersville girl, what grade is she, and has she committed anywhere?
She's a junior. I do not believe she has committed, but she is on pace for something like 200 over 200 goals. She's over.
Oh my!
Yeah, she's like 100. She's got like 120-ish. I don't know the exact number. She came into the year with 120 career goals, somewhere around there.
What's that? What's that record now? Because I know that there was a girl at Rolla, Annie Feltz, back in the day that said it, and I want to say Katie Pritchard may have eclipsed it when she was at Waynesville. Do you know what that record is? Goals?
I'm looking right now. That record is fairly untouchable from what I remember here, because a girl from Summit Christian a few years back was just an absolute scoring machine. Yeah, 319 is the record.
Goals? 319 goals?
319 goals in 87 games. 87
my!
Games,
were there goalies involved in this? Good. Or she kicked an empty net.
Hey, she's not the only one. Their number 2 is 305. And then Marshfield had a girl, Callie Watson, graduated in 2023. She scored 254.
What's happening here? Because that used to be 150 and 160. Is defense that bad? Are the girl soccer players become that much better? What happened?
It's probably a skill thing, and then you notice they're in a lot more smaller schools, so you may not always be facing the best quality of competition. Would be my guess, but. Yeah, Schubert she came into the season 132 goals in 2 seasons, so she's on pace for 264.
Wow, that's crazy. Hey, Chris, I know you keep your ear to what's going on out there and your eyes on social media. Any coaching vacancies that have opened in the area from basketball that were noteworthy? I know Marshfield, Trish Marsh resigned or retired there as well. Anything else open up in the area?
Not that I've noticed too much. That was the big one that jumped out. They're going to have their pick of coaches there with what they've got coming back, and so I really lock into that kind of once we start seeing the hiring processes take place. And in football, there's several places you can look that they track those. But before we shift gears, I do want to point out, I'd be remiss if I didn't point you to spring softball.
Yeah, because
our Class 2 teams, the first state rankings came out, and of the Class 2 top 10. 8 of them are Southwest Missouri schools.
Oh, wow.
Skyline and East Newton are 1-2, both undefeated. They play today. Diamond, the defending state runner-up, they're number 4. Mount Vernon's number 5. Warsaw, the defending state champ, is number 6. Fairgrove, coached by Bill Voorhis, he's got his twin daughters on the team. They're number 7. Thayer with this girl named Mackenzie Morris, really good pitcher. They're number 9, tied with a Springfield Catholic team that just launched a softball program, I think 4 or 5 years ago. And that's not even counting Miller and Clever, who are receiving votes. So you've got 10 of the 14 teams mentioned in Class 2 are from the area. We are absolutely dominant. And the way the districts break, there's a really high chance that we have 3 of the 4 Final Four teams in Class 2 come state here in a couple months. And then the Lockwood girls, who have that young group, that basketball team that was really good. They all play softball and volleyball as well. They're number 2 in the state softball rankings. They were the state runners-up last year. And Purdy, they have a pitcher and a hitter, Gabby Groomer, incredible hitter. They're ranked 5 with Plato 9. So in softball, that is probably, if you ask me where are we going to win a state championship, it is spring softball.
Now, they have an option to go fall or spring with the majority of their schedule. Are more schools locally opting for spring?
Small schools, yes. You are limited. It is like 8-man football. You can't play 8-man football above a certain enrollment. You can't play spring softball above a certain enrollment.
Okay.
So yeah, you're looking at Mount Vernon. Mount Vernon is probably one of the biggest ones. So you're probably looking at that, mid class 4 basketball level and down. You can switch, but Ozark couldn't unilaterally say we're playing spring softball.
Chris, who are the schools not from this area who are state ranked?
Kennett is 3. And Clearwater is 8 in Class 2. Oak Ridge leads Class 1 as the number 1.
See, I would figure their boys would be better at Oak Ridge. Parker just got it. Did you see that little delay there? Then the grid, yeah. We're going to end with that one, Chris, because that was just gold. So we're going to cut it off there, and we'll talk next week, okay?
Sounds good. High note right there.
Thanks, Parker. You bet.
Coach Parker visiting with us from the Ozone. We'll take a timeout on the starting lineup and be right back.
You're listening to The Starting Lineup with Scott Purrier, Ned Reynolds, and Art Haynes on 102.1 The One.